Hello, brand new free mamas. I'm super excited about today's show. We're talking about incontinence, and I have been super excited to tell you guys about this. I've been telling you about it all month, all week, and we've been waiting for this show to come out. I got the doctor here with me. She's going to explain a little bit about some things that we are ashamed to talk about. I know sometimes you guys can identify with this. Maybe you coughed or you sneezed, or even if playing with your kids, you've jumped up and down and you've peed on yourself a little bit. That can be embarrassing and even daunting. I know for myself, and I know for women like us, as middle-aged women going into menopause, or even women that's past that age, our bladders get weak as we get older. We're going to find out the answer. I have Dr. Shelia Whiteman with me today, and she's going to explain to us, do Kegels really work? Is there hope for us out there, or are we a lost cause? So let's welcome Dr. Shelia Whiteman. She is a doctor of physical therapy, and she's a health coach. She specializes in pelvic health, lymphedema, and oncology. And over the last 15 years, she has worked with hundreds of women with bladder and bowel and painful intercourse problems. But guess what else, guys? She is a best-selling author of the book, Pee or Not to Pee. I love that title. It is the guide for reducing and eliminating urinary continence. And her next book is called Stop Worrying About Bladder Leaks, and you can get that on Amazon today. So welcome, Dr. Shelia Whiteman. Nice to have you on my platform today, on my podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. You asked a lot of questions and said a lot of what ifs on that intro. So I'm going to see how many of those questions I can answer for the audience. I think maybe one of the first ones was, do Kegels really work? So that's actually a really good one. I'm going to back up a little bit though.
Okay.
Because a lot of people even have questions for me on what is pelvic health physical therapy. And just in case you don't know, pelvic health physical therapist, so we're just like any other physical therapist. We have that same background, but we specialize in issues that involve the pelvic floor. And there are a lot of them. Most women or many women have an issue with the pelvic floor sometime throughout the continuum of their life. So you even think about when you just had your baby, if you have had a child, and some people still have, they have pain for months if they had tears. They have issues with bowel sometimes because of the delivery. They also can have problems with incontinence.
Yes.
That lasts a little bit longer than you think it's going to actually last. So that's talking about the younger person. And then as we continue and age, changes in the body make it more likely that you will begin to have some issues with muscle weakness. So one of the main things, and you can ask a question anytime you want to, Deborah, kind of to keep me a little bit on track.
Sure, no problem. I'll jump right in.
Yeah, so one of the things people don't realize is that in our pelvic floor, there are layers of muscle. And layers of muscle in the pelvic floor act just the same as layers of muscle throughout your body. So they can get weak. For many women, they are not exercised that much or as much as they should be, because when you think about it, unless you are, well, Deborah and I, we do exercise because, we teach exercises, and probably her more than me, because I don't even do it as much as I used to. But that's not the average person. So even think about, do I get enough exercise for my muscles in general? And then from there, do I really get even any exercise for my pelvic floor? Do I focus on that? And the answer is usually no.
Yeah.
Or you kind of do it, but it's not anything that's structured. So you might think, okay, if I'm sitting down, and this is usually after you've leaked a few drops, you're like, okay, well, let me throw a couple Kegels in there because I read someplace.
That's true.
That Kegels work. So especially if you've leaked and you're like, and you're either like scared or, whatever, you will do Kegels for a couple weeks till you forget. And then you go on to your regular activities. So pelvic floor strengthening is not something that we do on a regular basis. However, it is something that's very important for us to continue doing.
Sometimes it's a little bit hard, especially when you have to go to the bathroom really quick, right? And you're like, I gotta hurry up and use the bathroom. You're not concentrating on, doing those Kegel exercises to release and let go,
right.
Those type of things.
Right. So, and I like that you said that, because I want people to realize that when you're trying to, now you can do Kegels when you're trying to when you have that urge to go to the bathroom, if you want that urge to stop or to slow down until you can get to the bathroom. But if you have the urge to go, or if you're going to the bathroom, or if you're even urinating, then it's not the time to do Kegels, because I know from experience that many people, women, feel that the best time to exercise and do your Kegels is when you're actually peeing, to see if you can stop the flow of urine, because the doctors will sometimes tell you to do that so you can find the muscles. So we only want you to do it once or twice. Once you found the muscles, you found them. They're not going to go and hide anywhere, anytime soon. They're going to still be there. So once you figure out where they are, you're good. Don't keep sitting on the toilet and trying to do a Kegel. What that will actually do is it will train your bladder to not fully release. So you'll always have too much urine in your bladder. It leads to frequency, overactive bladder. There's a whole nother issue with that.
I'm so glad you said that, because I've always heard that's when you should do your Kegel exercises, is when you're urinating, when you're sitting on the toilet, that's when you should do them.
I know. A lot of physicians have stopped telling women now, because as you know, if you tell women something that we're supposed to do, we take it to the nth degree.
Right.
If you tell us you say, okay, well, to find the muscles so you know what to do with your Kegel, sit on the toilet, and when you're peeing, squeeze your muscles. Oh, right. It's on.
Yes.
We just be squeezing until the cows come home. And of course, that is, when you come into therapy, we have to unwind all of that.
Yeah.
It's not something that you're supposed to do.
So you're telling us while we're at home, we can sit at home and do and improve our pelvic floor by doing Kegels?
I am telling you that, but I'm telling you have to do your Kegels the right way. The reason why bladder leaks are so common, but so many people are doing Kegels and really think that they are doing the best job doing these Kegels, is because they're not doing them properly. So when I was in the clinic treating, one of the things that we do actually do is manually check pelvic floor strength. Checking the pelvic floor strength in the hundreds of women that I've done, I would say probably, 90% of them were not doing a correct Kegel. Swore they were doing it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, squeeze. And they squeezed everything, but some of them you really couldn't feel anything. They were squeezing their eyes, they were squeezing their glutes, they were holding their breath, they were putting their abs in, everything but isolating your pelvic floor. And if you can't isolate your pelvic floor, you cannot strengthen it, period.
Okay. So how do we know if we're doing them correctly? Is there something that we have to do?
Yeah, you really, it takes practice.
Yeah.
But when you're doing, the best way to do it is actually even when you're starting to even do some imagery. So you would think about, and just know, so I'm a pelvic therapist. I'm just going to say whatever.
That's fine.
Because you have got to understand.
I'm good with that.
It's not going to be embarrassing, just like I'm talking to you, whatever.
No, that's what my show is about. We want to be real on here. So go ahead.
But I always have to preface when, I speak. So think about, even if you wanted to, while I'm speaking, close your eyes, because that's really, really the best way to visualize. So think about you have a pearl or a small object that's right on the edge of your vagina, right on the opening. Mm-hmm. So what you want to do is think about actually picking that pearl up. So you have that release. So everything's relaxed first because you got to relax and pick it up. So you pick it up, start out with that squeeze to lift it, right? Because now you got it. And then you want to lift it up as high as you can. So you want to think about lifting that pearl up. It's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Lift it up so that it goes all the way up and you can feel it moving up, metaphorically, into your vagina. And then you want to hold that for a few seconds, sometimes, just a few seconds. And then when you release, you want to slowly release back down. In between your squeezes and lifting, you want to feel a complete release of your muscle. So once again, you're going to go ahead. That pearl is sitting right there. You're going to visualize it. You're going to start lifting it up right at the beginning or the entrance of your vaginal canal. You're going to squeeze that pearl because we put in the squeeze. So now you have a good handle on it. And then you're going to lift it up. So you're going to actually feel your pelvic floor and your pearl in your mind lifting up towards your head. And then slowly release. As you practice that, you should probably feel a difference in the way that you've been doing your Kegels previously. Because many people just feel that there is a squeeze and they don't really add in the part that actually exercises the muscles that on that top layer. You actually have layers of muscle there.
So how long does it normally take for your body to get adjusted to that, to train your pelvic floor, I should say? So
there's a few things. For people, this is very individualized because there are people who have to eliminate squeezing their knees together or their inner thighs. So if you were doing that, you have to isolate the muscle and take that out. Squeezing your stomach in, clenching your glutes. So all of those movements have to come out. And that part actually takes some women a little bit of time to adjust to.
Yeah.
Without even doing the strengthening, because you want to begin to get the movement without using all the accessory muscles that are around. Your glutes are very strong. So even now, if you sit and you squeeze your glutes, just sit and squeeze your glutes. Don't even try to do a Kegel. Yeah. You're going to feel like you're doing something.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So you're just like, oh, hey, I'm just doing this and it's fabulous. But no, you actually have overflow from the larger muscles that are in the area that are simulating and giving the muscles that we feel we should be moving, giving them an overflow stimulation so that they will close, but it's not strengthening anything.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you want to get that part first. Once you can actually isolate, then is when you work on doing the strengthening. Okay. And it all depends on where you are. So I do a coaching program to help women who have bladder leaks and not leaking all the way through your clothes, because that usually you have to go to actual physical therapy clinic. But many women start before they get to that point with just a few leaks. They leak when they cough, sneeze, but then it becomes more frequent. They're going in the bathroom to pull their pants down. They're starting, a couple drops come out. No, no big deal, but a couple drops come out. You're coming home, you put your key in the door, or you go to put your hand on the knob to turn it. I got to hurry and run to the bathroom.
That is me. It's like I see the door and I'm running to the bathroom.
Yeah, that's urge urinary incontinence. That actually is a term of urinary incontinence. So for people like that, those are the people who a coaching program, will help, because those are the ones that you can catch it early. So then, and it's not like if this happens, a year from now, you're going to have, a lot of issues, but it might be 5 years.
Okay. Yeah.
And you want to get it before you're spending money on pads.
Yes.
A coaching program, pads cost a lot because that's really now a good market.
Yes.
So, so before you're doing that, spend the time, spend the money. Of course, try the Kegels and everything on your own. But if you are still having issues and you need to contact me, please don't hesitate. If there is something if the program is appropriate for you, we can go through the program. We can, do whatever to help you.
Okay, so I'll ask you a little bit about that again in a few minutes about your coaching program. You can go into a little bit more detail, but I also want to know about using, what is that, the Yoni balls. You ever heard of those? Would those help you to work with your pelvic floor?
They will help you if you don't have any pelvic floor issues.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, if you don't have any pelvic floor issues, they will help you. If you know that you know how to relax and release your pelvic floor, then they can work. Many people actually, though, have a tight pelvic floor. And you can notice that, say, for example, if when you sit down to go to the bathroom, and this can be bowel or bladder, but there's that hesitation, it doesn't want to come out. Or if you have like it's not a deep-seated terrible pain, but it's a discomfort in your pelvic floor area. Or if you, and some people can actually feel it. It's like more people who are very tense, very anxious, and if you have tension throughout your body, 10 to 1, you will have it in your pelvic floor. But if you don't, and you use the Yoni, there's a lot of products out there actually now, that yes, they will help to strengthen your pelvic floor if you use them properly. Here's the thing, just like we just talked about the squeeze that you did, and I explained to you the difference between the squeeze and the squeeze lift.
Yes.
It's the same thing with the Yoni. You can squeeze the Yoni and swear that you are doing something, but you have to squeeze, and then you still have to do that lift even with the Yoni.
Okay. So yeah, so let me ask you too. Now, what if we don't have problems with our bladder? Really, we're not doing any leakage. Should we still do these exercises?
Yes, so you should do the exercises. This country is probably one of the few countries with a good medicine program that doesn't encourage women to do Kegels throughout their lifetime. So even if you go, say, example, if you have your baby in Europe, you actually go through a program after you have your child to make sure that you know how to do your Kegels properly and that you are equipped to do them to make sure that your pelvic floor is in good condition following childbirth. So we're one of the few countries that really does not address women's health unless there is an issue.
Yeah, that's interesting you said that, because I was just reading an article. A girl from India said she was taught as a young age that you should do these like Kegels or pelvic floor things to improve your pelvic health.
Yes. So a lot of countries don't have issues like we do. Granted, bladder leaks are worldwide, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
It's a worldwide issue. But in a lot of countries, they are more concerned and more progressive on telling women how and teaching women how to take care of their bodies throughout their lives. And we don't really do that. We're doing it a little bit more now because there's so much more research out there. There's a lot more pelvic health physical therapists that are out there. When I first started, there were not many of us. You were searching high and low to find one, but now we're a lot easier to find. And we put out, a lot of us tend to put out a lot of information only because we're women and we know that gap that exists. So we're trying to spread information so that women don't have some of the longstanding issues that we see in the clinic.
Yeah, well, thank you. One other thing I wanted to ask, so what are some tips you can give us, or what are some other tips you might want to give us while we're home to improve our pelvic health?
So there's a couple tips, but the main tip, because one of the primary things that you have to learn how to do actually is to do your pelvic floor exercises the correct way. So while you're home, actually, this is a good time. A lot of us are on Zoom calls or doing work, sitting in front of a computer or sitting down. Yes. But at home, you actually have the opportunity to do Kegels in different positions. So if you're new to doing a Kegel and not quite sure that you feel what you're supposed to do feel in a sitting position, the next thing that you do is to actually do it lying down, taking away gravity eliminated. So you would lie down, and we can do this because we're home, so we can take 5-10 minutes maybe and do it. So you're going to lie down either on the floor or on the bed, depending on, you know, what your mobility is and how you're feeling. Put some pillows or elevate your legs, and you elevate them so that your muscles don't have to work to hold them up, because what you want to do is really focus on the pelvic floor. From there, you're going to try to do the same principle of doing a Kegel, but you'll find that it'll be easier. So for most women, we actually recommend when you start doing your Kegel and learning how to do them properly, that's the position that you start in. Okay. Lying down is easiest, sitting is harder, standing is very hard.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that you can do while we're all kind of home. And actually, you also want to do the opposite, is work on making sure that your pelvic floor is relaxed. And you can do that with deep breathing exercises. Breathe into the pelvic floor for relaxation. You can do some yoga poses. Child's pose is good for that. Yeah. So think about doing things like that too, because it's not only the strengthening, it's also the relaxation that's very important.
Awesome. So now tell us about your program. We want to hear about the program, how we can get in touch with you if we want to join your program.
Yeah, so I have you can actually email me. I think that's the easiest way for this format. And you can email me with more information. My email is the Pelvic DPT. So the PELVIC DPT@gmail.com. So you can email me if you have any questions or if you want any information on the program. I do not, Deborah mentioned I did write books. So even if you're interested, the first book, and if you look in the background, actually, you can see the covers of both my books. So the first book, you can get it actually, you can go to my site and you can download it for free. So you can read the book. And the site is 2p or not, and then the number 2.com. 2p or not 2.
I'll put it all in the show notes and the description.
Yeah, put it in the show notes, because that'll make it easier, and that way you can get the book. And from there, those are the best ways to get in contact with me. Of course, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram.
Yes.
Not so much, but I'm on social platforms so that you can find me also.
Awesome. We really appreciate the final takeaway that you want our viewers to know from your interview today. What is our final takeaway?
The final takeaway is bladder leaks are not normal. And bladder leaks do not have to happen as you age. So many people think, okay, well, I'm 50, 60, 70, whatever, and I have bladder leaks. That's just the way it happens. No, it's not. So if you are tired of having bladder leaks and tired of spending money on pads, know that there is help. If you don't have any underlying factors, there actually is a 90% success rate. The success rate is very high.
Yeah,
so I like to lead people with that.
Well, thank you. We're going to look for you. We're going to look for you. We're going to have some of our viewers, our listeners, contact you. I'm sure they're going to want to know about this. I've been talking you up so much and telling people, and a lot of women out there really want to know about this, but they are afraid to talk about it. So thank you so much for being on the show today. And I'm sure I will have you back again.
Oh, no problem. Just call me. I'll be there.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.